All right, today we are going to talk about a topic I am so passionate about, and it's controversial. How do you know you're always gonna be okay? Welcome to the Stayin' Wild and Well podcast. My name is Rin, and my greatest accomplishment is being alive. Here we talk about life's journey, the ups, the downs, the in-betweens, all things mental health, body, mind, and spirit. We share wild stories and keeping your wild alive while staying well. So since I've been going through so much turmoil in the last year, I ask myself, what is it that I know deep inside myself that helps me understand that I am going to be okay? I'm going to be the first one to say, stacking what you are going through causes so much more anxiety. And what do I mean by stacking? Let me share with you a couple of things that have happened in the last year for me that, my story is no more significant than the next person who's gone through something. But in the last year, it has been a lot, you guys. My dog had passed away. My grandfather passed away. My wellness coach had passed away by suicide. A friend passed away by suicide. My father had been hospitalized. My separation. This is what I mean by stacking. I can go on. There has been more occurrences that have happened. And what happens is when we begin to stack and look at everything oh my God, all these things that have happened, we generate this anxiety within ourselves and our nervous system starts to feel shaken up. We want to try and look at things at one thing at a time, one moment at a time, one situation at a time, move through that situation for what it is and move forward. Beyond that, I'm talking today about how do we know we're going to be okay? When we are going through so much and it feels like our world has been shaken, what gets us out on the other side? Especially when you've gone through grief, especially when you've moved through the layers of depression. And so the topic today, I guess you could say, is a little bit on the spiritual side. And I say spiritual side because I don't like to cast a label on it. I really don't like to cast a label on it because it's about your inner knowing. And your inner knowing is a feeling within yourself, right here. And you cannot describe it. There are no words. For me, my inner knowing was instilled within me. And I recognize an inner knowing isn't always instilled within somebody. It takes a little bit of work. It is like seeing the darkness and going deeper. Everyone thinks spirituality is like meditation and flowers and butterflies and yoga and holistic nutrition and happiness. But spirituality is like the dark night of the soul. It is seeing the darkness and choosing to go in deeper. It's diving in and having this innate knowing that no matter what, you're going to be okay. It is a feeling within. So how do we know what our inner knowing is? This is the number one question I ask my clients when I start to dive in, because if you don't know, a lot of the work I do with my clients is mind, body, spirit. Mind, how our mind works, how our brain functions, body, how we nourish our body, how our body reacts to our mind, and then spirit is like that inner knowing within you. And so what I would say to my clients is pick someone you really love. So this is your opportunity right now, okay? Close your eyes, pick somebody that you really love in your life, and I would say to you, tell me how you know you love them. Think about that. How do you know you love them? Oh, well, because they're like this and they make me feel this way, XYZ. Okay, prove to me that you love them. What you will find is that there's no actual way to know how you love someone, and there's no actual way for you to prove to anybody outside of you that you love someone, because it's a feeling within that you just know. I just know I love them. I just know they're my soulmate. I just know because of the feeling within. That is the inner knowing. It is just this depth within you that just knows. So how have I personally, gotten through some of the darkest times of my life. And I have yet to share my entire story with you guys, but just thinking about the last year, I'm so proud of the work that I've done within myself, because it's all the work that has led up to this point that has cultivated this strength and this inner knowing within myself that has me know in such a deep level that I'm going to be okay. Your inner knowing is beyond spirituality. It is beyond religion, it is beyond culture, it is beyond politics, because it is nothing that you have been taught. It is not anything that you can rely on outside of you. Now, there's something like 145,000 different variations of Jesus, God, religion, all kinds of things. And this is nothing against religion. I will be the first to say, whatever you believe in, I'm so happy, because if that provides you with the hope and the strength that you need within, I am not here to remove that. What I am here to say is that there are so many different variations of the same thing, where knowing that you're going to be okay is not something outside of you. It is not something that you have been taught. It is not a religion. It does not come from a book. It does not come from some cultural ideal or something that you have been taught from your family. It is something that you know within. The reason I've worked on this inner knowing is because I have come to know that no matter what happens, if all the world was to fall apart, I could dive in deep and know that she is going to pull me through. He is going to pull me through. That feeling is going to pull me through. My inner knowing has allowed me the ability to see life a little bit different than what the average person might see it as. And I understand that it also can cause a lot of conflict and a lot of misunderstandings, because the way I see people is a little bit different. I see everybody as energy and as love. I think we are all a source of love. I think we are all a source of God. I think we are all a source of this one energy that comes back into one. And so that means when somebody upsets me or has taken advantage or has crossed over my boundaries, the human within us reacts to these situations, and we put up our walls, or we get angry, or we never want to talk to that person again. And in so many ways, like never talking to someone again because they've, crossed over a boundary. It's fine. It's the human within us that chooses to set boundaries because it makes us not feel good. But your inner knowing is the ability to start to see people for who they are and how we are all one. We are all one, meaning every single person you meet has traumas, they have been taught something, and they show up in the world based on the ways that they have been taught and the experiences that they have had. And to be able to sit back and see them for who they are, as this beautiful person who actually really is all love, you don't take things personally anymore, because you start to understand that we are all here on our own journey. We all have a mission, we all have a journey, we all have something that we are supposed to actualize, self-actualization, reaching into our truth, unlearning all the things that we've been taught and tuning into who we truly are. Things aren't taken as personally anymore. You're able to differentiate what belongs to someone else and what belongs to you. What lesson is that person giving you? So again, when you're moving through hardship, when there's other things that are coming at you, you're able to step back and see things for what they truly are. You are able to stand in a room and see everyone in their own character and in their own person and the different roles that they play and their experiences and how they show up from a state of trauma or what they've been taught and who they are, and see them as love and as of energy and as an experience that you can take as a lesson versus taking it personally and then allowing it to harm you, destroy you, belittle you, or take away your power or your spark and your light. I think the greatest gift in having this knowing that no matter what you're going to be okay is that you don't close your heart. And that is I don't know, for me, a true gift, because when we have been hurt, it is so easy to want to shut down our heart. It is so easy to get cold. It is so easy to get hard and to not want to allow love in, to see the world as like this tainted version and vision of your life and your reality. But instead, if we keep our hearts open, we can accept people for who they are, and we can love people for who they are, and we can welcome more experiences in and allow ourselves to still fully love in the ways that we know we want to. I think the other piece is that true enlightenment is when our ego, our human self, the way we function in life, meets our spirit and they live in harmony together. So what I mean by the ego is the Western mind always wants answers and always has questions and always wants to dig deeper and wants to understand. And when life seems so treacherous, we're looking for answers. We're trying to find validation in everything that has happened. But again, that sense of like, I'm gonna be okay, is tapping into that inner knowing where you don't actually need the answers to everything that is going on in your mind. You're able to connect to this stillness within you and this peace within you that helps you move through your next journey. So I guess what I'm saying might sound really confusing. I know I'm like kind of going here and there and everywhere, and it's just like a really exciting topic for me, is that the best way that I can say that I have been able to move through some of the hardest things of my life is knowing deep within that I'm going to be okay. And it is based on the work that I have done on myself and facing the hard questions and tapping into my truth, even when it was scary, even when people would be against it, even when people would misunderstand me. It's tuning into the truth that I know is within and allowing that to guide me and pull me through. The eyes that have looked in the mirror when I was 4 years old are the same eyes that look into the mirror as I get older and evolve as a human being. And those eyes, that sense, that conscious self views me and has perceived life and has taken life in and has morphed with me. That is that inner knowing. That inner knowing is not something that is taught to you. It is something that you know. It doesn't come from a religious text. It doesn't come from political ideals. It doesn't come from culture and how we're raised to think that we should be. It's knowing that you can go in within and live your life authentically in a way that makes sense to you. It is understanding that we are all coming from the same source. We all have this energy within us. We are all love. And though we may show up in ways that aren't loving, these are coming from places of trauma. These are coming from places of hurt. These are coming from things that we have been taught and how we have perceived life. And when you start to see individuals in your life that come into your orbit as love and that they are going through a human experience, you are able to differentiate and not take things so personally. You are able to look at your own self and your own life and your own experience and tap into that energy. You are able to know you are so deeply in love with someone because you feel it. My inner knowing, like there have been times, you guys, where I'm like just driving and I get this burst through my body where I just feel like this energetic pull, this love, and I don't even know exactly what it is, but I know that I'm just so happy. And it's a feeling that's cultivated within. It's that the way of life and the way we've been taught. And like a really great example is as I'm moving through my separation, my partner, I'm like, let's honor the 17 years that we've been together. I just want to hug you and I want to appreciate you. And I'm so grateful for the lessons that have been brought into my life. And as I'm grieving and moving through the hardship and I could feel the grief and God, it's so dark. And there have been these ugly moments. It's seeing it for what it is and that it's a part of the human experience and life. And I'm like, I just want to love you. And my ex-partner is like, no, this isn't what we do. This isn't what people do when we're moving through a breakup. And I'm like, this is what I mean by the misunderstanding that we can sometimes experience. Because like, for me, it's not about what we do. That is, again, a belief system and something that has been taught. What if we were to tap into the feeling within us? And I've had other people question me about this inner knowing. And if we listen to our inner knowing, it can be reckless and it can cause harm. But your inner knowing is love and truth. And if you are tapping into true love, if you are tapping into utter truth, and you are being authentic to your soul and who you are as a person, it shouldn't be causing harm. It wouldn't be causing harm. We cannot help what the inner knowing does outside of us. We cannot help how it affects the people around us. All we can do is come from a space of love and self-actualization to live our life in alignment with our truth and who we are. And when you're living in alignment with your truth and who you are, when things feel really tough, you know that you're going to be able to pull through. Now, I know if you're watching this and you're like, what is this girl talking about? Is she out to lunch? What is she even saying? I do understand that if you have not had this inner knowing instilled within you, or this feeling is new to you, trusting in it can feel really scary. Or perhaps you're like, this sounds great. I want to feel that. How do I? We are going to have a part 2. We are going to have a part 2 where I'm going to talk about some of the questions you can start to ask yourself to start to understand your inner knowing. For me, because I think I've gone through a lot of hardship in my life, I've had to really feel into this deep longing within myself. I've had to ask myself hard questions, but not only that, but I've had this energy that has been instilled within me, and I've been really lucky to feel that. But there are ways that you could start to tap into it if you're looking to find that peace within you. If you are looking to be able to rely on you, to know that there's nothing outside of you that is ever going to give you the answers that you need or the feeling of peace more than what that inner knowing and trust can do for you. So I guess today's video is like a bit of a conversation about your inner knowing, and like it's a little bit juju for some people that might be hearing this. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you really want to get through anything in your life, any hardship, the ticket and the answer for me has been tapping into this inner knowing. And I believe that if you have the ability to truly allow yourself to trust and to be able to face the fear, to ask yourself the hard questions and tune in to yourself, you can get through anything, because you will come to know, even right now, there has been so much that you have gone through already that you have managed to pull yourself through. And that has been this strength within you, that has been this feeling that you cannot describe, that has been this motivation, because motivation cannot be taught. It is something that comes from within. It is this drive, it is this energy that pulls you through. That is what gets you through anything. That is what gets you through the dark night of the soul. That is when you are in the darkness and you're like, I'm going to go deeper. I don't see what's there. It's really dark, but I'm going to go deeper because I know that there's some light there. And you just keep going because there's this safety and this trust within. So if you want to know how to cultivate this inner knowing, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you've never experienced it and you're just curious, you're gonna have to look out for part 2, because part 2, I'm gonna provide you questions that you can start to ask yourself to start to feel into it. And if you do know this inner knowing, I want you to tap into it. I want you to look into the mirror and be like, yes, these eyes are the same eyes that looked at me when I was 4 years old. These eyes that are perceiving the world around me are the same eyes that perceived the world around me when I was 4 years old, that have evolved with me as I've gotten older. I want you to take that in and use this power as the power to pull you through the hardship that you are moving through. So look out for part 2, and we will see you at the next video.